Okay, thanks very much. Hello, everybody. I'll just share my screen and hopefully, um, is that coming
Yeah,
through for everybody?
yes, we've got your desktop.
And you should hopefully see Health and Social Care map.
Yes, we can see that.
Lovely. And that was great, Emmy. And I had a couple of questions. I'd certainly like to pick up on the work you've done, but hopefully I can see some synergies of what I'm going to demonstrate and share in there. So, sorry, that's the only reason I didn't ask a question. Basically, my name's Nick Stevenson. I'm a senior project officer in adults and health. And background is I got involved about 4 or 5 years ago in major events, planned events in the city of Leeds. So things like your triathlon, Tour de Yorkshire, the carnival, Chapeltown Carnival, where we have to plan business continuity. So as events pass through past a GP or past a care home, a way of identifying what services were potentially impacted, let them know, etc. And this map, version 5 of it, as it says, is basically the work over the last 3 years as we've gone through the events and worked with colleagues across the council. And yeah, I'd basically just like to do a demonstration of sort of 3 key functions of the map and show the data behind it. And sort of, how can it be developed, etc. Because a lot of what I'll show you now is manual, so it's opportunities for automating and developing. So basically, make the map full screen. On the left-hand side, you've got your navigation functionality. The right top corner here, you've got your data I'll come to. And at the bottom here, you've got what they call the attribute table. The software you're looking at is Esri, and I believe Esri is a partner of ODI Leeds as one of the members of ODI, sorry, of the ODI Institute. And we use it with all Esri products. Everything you're looking at is public data, publicly available, and it uses AGOL software, the AGOL online Esri mapping software. So in terms of functions, you've got bookmarks, etc. We've got our view of the city. 3 key things I'll show. One is there's a key thing is finding where an event is. So if I add a postcode here, you can make the software look at different things. We've made it look at the postcode checker. This is working with colleagues in Leeds Observatory. So if I click on that, this is linked to the data we have of all our wards, MSOAs, LSOAs. So that comes from Leeds Observatory colleagues, but what we've done is then complement it. So if someone was to ring up the contact centre or to say, I live at X, where's how am I impacted? Or staff in the businesses can use it. It is very much seen as something for health and social care staff. And then they see which area they're in, etc. But we would know which team, our social work team, that we need to refer to, or etc. So once you know the location, the next key feature is, well, what's around the location? So around the event. And there's a great feature in Esri in AGOL called Near Me. So if I click that widget, it then gives me 2 options. And the first option is I can set my location. So I know the postcode. I can then click on the set location widget, click on the map, and it will put a bullet point and it sets that the location. Now it's currently defaulted to 0 miles, which I'll come back to. But basically, if I then, you can have this in 100 meters, 200 meters, you could have it in 50 miles. I've set it 1 to 5 miles because within an event, if it's a point or around an event, you want to know generally with what falls within a mile. And if I turn on the legend there, basically everything is synchronized. So underneath, it tells me how many services are within a mile. Down the legend, that is synced to what's within the circle, and the attribute table at the bottom tells me there are 7 care homes, for example, Forum Central Older People Services. We know what Leeds Community Services, we know Leeds Council buildings. So there's 18 buildings within that area. What we can now do is, if I wanted to contact those council buildings or know more about them, final thing I can do is go to options and I can export. So that tab of data, those Leeds City Council buildings, if I clicked OK, it would be saved. Essentially, we do that and we then do it as a mail merge. So we might mail people and say there's an event. But if I want to focus on, say, pharmacies, for example, this is where there could hopefully potential of, you know, with Emmy's work, you can filter it down and just show me the pharmacies. Again, notice all the data table changes, it all disappears and it's synchronized that now I'm just looking at pharmacies. And finally, I can then go and look within the pharmacy of the information. All the information you're looking at here, we download from NHS Digital basically once every 3 months and we refresh it. Finally, then I can say, right, that's the pharmacy, what's within a mile of the pharmacy, and you can hop around the city like that sort of thing. You can go and it will do the same function. Second key thing is though, but I don't want to point, I want to find services within an area. And we've done some work with covered on this. And the near me feature lets you put in what geographic areas you want to search by. So for example, I'm in Chapeltown area, I just put CHA and I can find the postal areas, the postcode checker, what streets are within. So it's just looking at where CHA is in. But if I say the electoral ward, Chapel Allerton, I've been asked how many services are in Chapel Allerton ward, then that's another functionality. It does the same. As you notice, I've got 2 lines. This is why we default it to 0 for this purpose. So it will only look at what falls within the boundary and it will whir away, as I say. And then again, it will show all the services. So the final part is, that's great. I know the point. I know what's in an area. But over here, we have all the different data that we can access. So if I close that down, in terms of our operational need, we want to know where our operational services are as adult social care. So there, in terms of a map of Leeds, is where our adult social care is. We've been working with Pip Goff and colleagues at Forum Central. We've got now Forum Central locations and we've got all charities from the Charity Commission. We've then obviously worked with CQC. I can turn all that data on, and this for me is the power of it. The maintenance, yes, the back office is how do you do all this, and that is to maintain, and that's the key thing I wanted to bring to this group is, well, what's the automation? But there's all the NHS, etc. So if I do that same search now, having switched everything on, it is a massive data. Let it settle down, but that's what's within LS7 and around that postcode. We also have all the boundaries, as I said, we could search by, and this is where I can go in and I can select, and this is where we started with. So there's our triathlon route. That's the triathlon route when it settles down, sorry. So there's our triathlon route, and that's what all our care workers and health workers have to negotiate each year, just like they have to negotiate the Tour de Yorkshire, etc. And then we can see which areas are blocked out for parking, you with me, where parking may be restricted, etc. So we can show all that sort of data there, those areas. And then the final bit is then, well, what falls within that area? The final widget, which we use a lot, is the select function. And this is where I'm taking a gamble, but let's see, because it should work. Let's trust the technology. And I can go around the area. I can say, right, there's the event. That's what I'm interested in. We do this for community committees, other things, double click, and hopefully, there you go. And it worked. Trust the technology. And I can then see, right, within that, there's 34, there's 27 CQC, there's 29 GPs. And finally, I can do the same thing with this widget. I can now export that data to CSV. I can save it. I can do what I want with it. But basically, we've identified who's potentially impacted by the event. We've got all the data and we can select it. So in summary, I see this as something that we've developed very much with service providers, service managers, staff, all the widgets. The reason I explain the widgets in the detail, the idea is the postcode checker element, etc. You could go and have on your mobile phone, for example. So the idea is that you can just have the postcode and you can just find what's within a mile. That works as a separate app, and we've created that for mobile use. But otherwise, you know, it's just key for us finding health and social care in relation to the city.